SAP Now scores your exam answers on a scale from 1 to 5, based on how well you explain a decision out loud. You can't memorize that. The good news? You can train it. An ex-colleague texted me last week, "Is it true the new SAP exam makes you talk now?" Yes, it's true. Here's what changed. Between November 2025 and March 2026, SAP moved its entire certification portfolio to a new exam format. The proctored multiple-choice exam was phased out. Both Business Data Cloud certifications run on the new format. Business Data Cloud was in the very first wave. For those two, the exam is now one single activity, a scenario-based assessment. You need 60% to pass. And it's open book, officially. The help portal is allowed. Even Joule is allowed, where the exam supports it. Nobody is watching you take it either. There's no proctor anymore. Your SAP Universal ID confirms it's you. So, first question, does this even affect you? Only if you're taking an exam for the first time. Existing certificates stand. And the yearly Stay Certified assessment hasn't changed at all. My honest reaction when I read this? Relief. The industry finally started grading the thing I actually do for a living, explaining a decision out loud and defending it. So in the next 10 minutes, I show you how this new machine works and how to train for it. If that's the breakdown you need, subscribe. Let's start where you would start, on the exam page. First, a practical marker from an SAP champion who's been through it. The button label tells you which format you got. If it says Go to Certification Exam, you're on the new scenario-based format. If it says Schedule Exam, that's still the old one. A practitioner's marker, not official documentation, but it answers the first question everyone has. Getting in is simple. There's no separate sign-up and nothing to schedule. You use your SAP Universal ID and you're in. Your microphone is required. Your camera is optional. SAP's FAQ is explicit about both. If a camera permission dialog pops up, that's just the browser asking. One thing surprises almost everyone. You cannot preview the scenario. The case material only becomes visible after you click Start. No studying the exact scenario in advance, which, honestly, is the point of the whole redesign. Now the clocks. I want to be precise here, because this is where most of the confusion lives. Officially, you get a window of 2 to 3 hours per assessment. That's the exam window. The role-play conversation itself? Practitioners report around 20 to 30 minutes. 2 different clocks. Keep them apart and half the horror stories you've read online dissolve. When the assessment opens, you make one choice and it shapes everything after it. There are 2 ways to finish this exam. Let me show you the whole machine on one screen. You start the assessment. You choose your path. Path 1, a live timed role-play with an AI avatar. That's the one SAP recommends. Path 2, you record a video of yourself presenting your solution and a human reviews it. Either way, you get scored and then you submit, or you retake. That's the entire machine. Now the details that actually decide the choice. The role-play meets you in your own language. SAP's FAQ lists 22 languages. The video route is English only. The video route is also slow. A human reviews it, and that can take up to 20 business days. And the recording is deleted after 3 months. My advice, and this is me talking, not SAP, if your spoken English is the thing you're worried about, don't pick the English-only video route just to avoid a live conversation. A roleplay in your own language beats a stiff video in someone else's. You're being scored on your reasoning. Give your reasoning its best channel. Here's where it gets genuinely interesting, how the grader actually thinks. The engine analyzes the semantic intent of your answer. Intent, not keywords. You're not being scanned for magic vocabulary. The system evaluates whether your explanation means the right thing. Say it in your own words and the grader follows you. And every exam objective gets scored on a scale from 1 to 5. 1 is insufficient, 5 is excellent. The criteria behind that scale were defined by subject matter experts. Land at 60% overall and you pass. And now, the detail I'd underline twice. When you finish, there's a button called Save and View Analysis. Save and View Analysis shows you your score before you submit. Read it. In that session. Because that analysis is only available while you're logged in, next login, it's gone. People keep asking for a detailed score breakdown afterwards, and fair enough. SAP has said, in an official community reply, that a detailed score report is on the roadmap, no date attached. So for now, that one in-session view is what you get. Use it. One quick clarification so we stay precise. This is how the scenario-based exams are scored. The hands-on system-based exams work differently. There, your tasks are checked through API verification, and a task is simply right or wrong. Here's what all of this means for you. Because the grading is semantic, structure wins, not vocabulary, structure. An answer in everyday words that walks a clean line from problem to recommendation, that scores. A cloud of buzzwords does not. Hold that thought. It's the entire training plan in one sentence. Before we get to the rules that cost people real attempts, I'm curious. Role play or camera? Which one would you pick? And if you've already set one of these, tell me in the comments what surprised you. I read them. Now the rules nobody reads. These are the ones that cost real attempts. Rule 0 comes before exam day, and nobody talks about it. The role play runs on an external speech platform. If you're sitting behind a corporate firewall, it may simply not load. Your IT has to allow 2 addresses. They're on your screen right now. Test this days before on the exact machine you use, not on exam morning at the office desk. Then the rule that catches people mid-exam. There is a pause button. Sounds safe, right? Pause freezes the role play. The conversation stops. But it does not stop the exam countdown. The clock keeps running while you're paused. Let that land. A calm down coffee in there costs exactly what it costs. Next, the attempts math. Because failing has rules of its own. You get up to 4 attempts in 12 months. Between attempts, you wait at least 24 hours. And if you fail all 4, that's a 12-month lockout. But there's one genuinely generous rule hiding in there. If you fail with time still left on the clock, you can retake immediately, and both runs together count as one attempt. So here's my coaching rule. Plan your assessment so the clock has something left. That leftover time is a free second life. 2 more, quickly. The certificate is valid for 12 months, and every assessment you pass extends it by another 12. And what if the technology genuinely breaks on you? When SAP confirms a system error, they can grant you a new attempt. Practitioners have had attempts restored after opening a support case. So if something crashes mid-exam, don't just swallow it. Open the case. So how do you prepare for an exam you can't rehearse? Let me be straight about the situation first. There is no official practice roleplay. The exam conversation exists only inside the exam. And there are no sample questions. The exercises in the learning journeys are the official preparation. That's the honest starting point. The skill itself, you train yourself. Good news. I've trained that skill through my whole consulting career and it has a shape. When I pitch a decision, it has 4 moves. Situation, constraint, recommendation, and why not the alternative. Let me do one live, 30 seconds, so you hear what it sounds like. Situation. A team runs its month-end reporting in spreadsheets, outside the system. Constraint. No budget for new tools this year. Recommendation. Build the report on the embedded analytics they already own. Why not the alternative? Because a separate reporting tool means a second data path, a second security model, and a second thing that breaks. That's the whole move. No buzzwords. Just a straight line. Now the drills. 1 decision per day. 90 seconds. Out loud. Record it on your phone, then listen back. It feels awkward for about 3 days. Then it stops being awkward and starts being a skill. Second drill, the open book skill. Open book does not reward knowing everything. It rewards knowing where things are. Practice finding an answer in the help portal fast. That's a rehearsable move, exactly like the pitch. And one unofficial tip, clearly labeled as such, an SAP champion recommends opening a free account on the speech platform the exam runs on, purely to get used to talking at a screen. The name is on your screen. His workaround. Not official SAP guidance. Let me close the loop the way I just taught you, this whole video, in 4 moves. Situation. SAP turned this certification exam into a spoken scenario. Constraint. There's no practice environment and you get 4 attempts. Recommendation. Train explaining decisions out loud, in a structure, on a clock. Why not the alternative? Because memorizing prepares you for an exam that no longer exists. That's the entire video in the exam's own format. You know your stuff. The real question is, can you say it out loud under a clock? If this walkthrough just saved you a surprise on exam day, that's what subscribing gets you, the breakdown before you need it. And before you close this tab, take one decision you made this week and explain it out loud. 90 seconds, no notes, that's rep 1.